Hello, my name is Lily and I'm one of the librarians at the Malden Public Library. Welcome to the third installment of our weekly book review series, 5 and 5, wherein we share 5 books that focus on one topic or genre in 5 minutes. Today I will be focusing on a personal favorite, true crime. You can check out the link in the description to request any of the books that I discussed today from the library. And I will tell you now that I vouch for not only these books, but also the audiobooks. The narration on all of these is great. The first book I want to recommend to you is Yellowbird, Oil, Murder, and a Woman's Search for Justice in Indian Country by Sierra Crane Murdoch. Murdoch, an investigative reporter, tells a story within a story. Young oil worker Christopher Clark disappeared from his work site on the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation in North Dakota, and the most dogged investigator by far on his case is Lissa Yellowbird, a woman with a degree in criminal justice from the University of North Dakota and plenty of experience on the wrong side of the law. Though not involved in the case officially, Lissa's tireless detective work does unravel the mystery of Clark's disappearance. With a missing man, a determined sleuth, and an unvarnished look at the miasma of addiction, complicated family relationships, deficient law enforcement, and corruption that plagues reservations all over the country, Murdoch weaves a gripping narrative that is anything but skin deep. The next book I want to recommend is American Predator, The Hunt for the Most Meticulous Serial Killer of the 21st Century by Maureen Callahan. Callahan tells the story of one of the most terrifying American serial killers you've never heard of. After police apprehend Israel Keyes for his role in the kidnapping and brutal murder of 18-year-old Samantha Koenig in Anchorage, Alaska, investigators begin to realize the chilling truth of the man they have in custody. As the FBI tries to blow the case wide open, and the prosecutor simultaneously seems hell-bent on blowing the case, one thing becomes clear. A highly efficient killer with a penchant for the most dangerous game has been stalking his prey across the country for years. The next book I want to recommend is Furious Hours, Murder, Fraud, and the Last Trial of Harper Lee by Casey Sepp. Reverend Willie Maxwell was accused of, though only occasionally charged with, killing no fewer than 5 people in Alabama as part of a bizarre and sprawling life insurance scheme. Many of his neighbors believed he successfully used voodoo to control and murder his enemies. One thing is for sure, Robert Burns stood up during a teenage girl's funeral and shot Maxwell 3 times in front of 300 witnesses, killing him. And if you think this sounds strange, trust me, it is just the tip of the iceberg. Wait until you find out who defends Burns during his murder trial. It's a truly fascinating tale that caught the interest of author Harper Lee, who was so intrigued by the story that she traveled to Alabama to extensively research the case for a book everyone thought would be her next bestseller. As the years passed, the book never materialized, and while we may never know if she finished writing it, Sepp certainly pulls the curtain back for you on one of the most reclusive writers' activities following the wild success of To Kill a Mockingbird, while also examining racial politics in the Deep South and how they impacted Lee's work. The next book I want to recommend, the penultimate book, is The Cadaver King and the Country Dentist, a true story of injustice in the American South by Radley Balko and Tucker Carrington. Balko and Carrington do a deep dive into the stomach-churning brew of incompetence, corruption, and moral bankruptcy that is known as the Mississippi justice system, focusing on how the state medical examiner Stephen Hayne and Dr. Michael West, the self-proclaimed bite mark specialist, helped secure the wrongful convictions of Kennedy Brewer, Lavon Brooks, and countless others. Balko and Carrington paint a vivid picture of the devastation wreaked by a structurally unjust justice system and illegitimate forensic science. The last book I want to recommend is I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer by Michelle McNamara, and I'm sure you have all heard of this one, but it's worth it. It earned its place on the list. McNamara's obsession with uncovering the identity of the serial murderer and rapist alternately known as the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker, and the Golden State Killer led her to begin writing what would quickly become a credit to the genre. Unfortunately, McNamara died before finishing the book. 2 people she worked closely with on the case used her notes to complete the manuscript, which is bookended by an introduction by Gillian Flynn and an afterword by McNamara's husband, Patton Oswalt. Her distinctive voice and the thorough, respectful additions of her fellow sleuths make I'll Be Gone in the Dark a must-read. Though she did not live to see it, the man responsible for these heinous crimes was arrested in 2018 and has since been tried and convicted. And though I don't think they touch upon the trial, they do discuss his arrest and the implications of how he was caught. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed these books, and remember to check the description for a link to request them from the library. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope we'll see you next week for 5 more recommendations. Have a great week.